Citizen Library, and I'm running 5 microphones. This is 2 stereo pairs up here, is what this is called. And this is more or less the equivalent of a spot mic. I could go on about technical stuff, but I'll not bore you. Basically, this provides detail to what's going on down here. And these up here really sort of capture the environment and how the notes are interacting with each other in this acoustic space. But this microphone makes it's like an intimacy control in a way, where I can make the sound very intimate and very near in detail, or I can back it off as I need. And typically I'll develop a balance between the two of what I think sounds best. This is me setting up for the Hot Springs concert band, and this is what a final setup kind of looks like. There are 16 microphones out there that I'm working, so I can use 16 microphones on this thing. That means it's running full capacity. This is a movie and abstract psychedelic chamber music piece that I worked on just this summer called the Dream Retrieval Ritual. And this is where I got my 5.1 surround sound experience. We ran the film at an art studio at Hearn Fine Art, which is not too far from here actually. It's on Wright and Chester. And it was a 2-week run. Basically, people would come in, we'd play the film, and there's music happening all around you. There are sound effects happening all around you. A bass clarinet gets in a fight with a meat grinder. You know, so that's me working on the set. I really like Pink Floyd. If you don't know who Pink Floyd is, I suggest checking out their music. This is also on the set of a Dream Retrieval Ritual. As you can tell, there was some strange music stuff going on. And these are like some of the best musicians that we know in the Arkansas area. It was a blast. This is me miking up an amplifier. Great. Here's the Hot Springs Music Festival. Great. Here's me working with a traditional Russian folk group in Russia. These are the microphones that I was sponsored with by Royer. I just mailed them back yesterday. It was really sad. This is some of my equipment back here. Traveling with equipment like this on an airplane is difficult. This is me on the news in Russia because they haven't recorded, the Far East Symphony Orchestra hasn't recorded in 10 years, and no American gets on a plane to go record an orchestra. That just doesn't happen. And again, this was something that I did for free. I spent a week recording these people for free. And someone would say, dude, why would you do that? I spent 65 hours recording them. Normally, I would charge between $3,000 to $4,500 for that kind of work. But I did it for free. Anyone want to guess? Why would I do that? Miss?
Just to get your name out there and kind of get more experience.
You are 1,000% correct. Exactly. Now I'm an international recording engineer. And this is what I meant when I said, who dares win to be bold? If you spend your life waiting for opportunities to come to you, you're going to stay right where you're sitting. You have to go out and get them, you have to go out and make them. And this news article coming out of that, what's it worth? That's how you spell my name in Russian. I didn't know that, but I know that now. And now this is on my LinkedIn internet resume. And again, this is something you can't take from me. I have this experience. So, all of these recordings, all this work, are achievements that require careful planning and precise work with a high level of attention to detail. The recording world, especially live performance recording, is really unforgiving. If I'm recording you guys, for example, and there's parents there, there's general public there, there's people are in the audience, and if I mess up during your performance, how silly would it be? Hey, I messed up, could you do that one again? From bar 12. Yeah, no, the microphones are like, that would be insane. I would be out of business then, right then. That would be the end of my career, because word of that's going to spread. So you have to pay very close attention to detail, but that's also true, I believe, of everything else, and that's why I'm imparting this unto you also. Had I known this when I was younger, I feel like maybe we would have been having this conversation a couple years ago instead of now, but it's okay. I'm cool with that. So Mr. Evans asked, well, what's a day in the life of a recording engineer like? This was my schedule last month. You'll notice I use an analog schedule. This material is made of mashed up wood pulp, and they flatten it and dry it into this paper stuff. And I use like pen, just because that's how I like to do it. I like to scratch things out. I don't have a fancy phone. I can't stand that stuff. This is my phone. It's like, you don't have a phone?
Cool story.
Good for you, dude. Okay, so what's a day in the life like? You'll see there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of busy stuff. I have to force myself to take days off. You'll notice there's no such thing as a weekend for me. All of my weekends have work going on. There's a couple that have some R&R fun stuff, but here's recording for a dream retrieval ritual. A dream retrieval ritual was basically this whole block here. That's why it was circled like that. This was my trip overseas. We went to South Korea and Russia. I'm so obsessed with music and recording and what people listen to that when I was in South Korea, I looked up a recording studio and I went and I talked to the guy for 2 hours. I thought it was going to be just 30 minutes an hour, just say hi, listen to his work. We get into this huge conversation about what people are listening to, about politics, about how does he record, how do I record, what does he have, what do we do different? This guy is like me, except he's Korean and he lives in Seoul. So it was really cool for me to travel to this other part of the world and meet this person who has the same ambitions as I do, and the same equipment, and he's like worked his way up. No one's really helped us do these things. You have to do them for yourselves. So upon getting back, this is what my schedule looks like. Here we are right now, Central High recording conversation, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I was up until 4 a.m. creating this presentation. I worked on it from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And before that, I had a 1.5 hour nap, and then I had dinner. And all day yesterday, I was at the Chamber of Commerce doing business networking. I had to mail back those microphones. I had a conversation. I'm also involved in what's called Citizens First Congress. That is a grassroots citizens political group that helps create change that people actually want. We protect the environment, things like that. So I had that meeting, and it goes on. This is what October looks like. So you'll see a difference between the other months in October, and that's only because there's only so far I can plan out. A lot of it depends on my clients. A lot of it depends on what kind of work I can get. And I mean that, what work I can get. A lot of people don't come to me. I have flyers that I print, and I go to people, I set appointments, I contact them. And as musicians, you're going to have to do the same thing at some point. After you get out of high school, whether or not you go to college, if this is something you want to pursue seriously, or anything you want to pursue seriously, you're going to have to be ambitious and follow people. So I'm recording 4 albums next month. One of them is paid for. This is an album with a guy in the United Kingdom. I'm recording a soprano, female soprano, and piano. That's going to be really cool. There's some Arkansas Symphony Orchestra stuff going on. Those are not albums, that's just our choir recording. DDD Trio is a woodwinds trio. We're recording an album on Wednesday the 8th, it looks like. Also all this week, I'm going to be using Skype to talk with Tigran Akhundzarian, who's the artistic director and conductor of the Far East Symphony Orchestra. So we're going to be listening through stuff we recorded and piecing things together to try and make something that's CD-worthy and sellable. Hot Springs Concert Band, we're recording an album. UCA, the choir department, is recording a holiday album specifically because they want to sell it to finance a field trip where they're going to go out and sell even more CDs and go sing in places out around the country. And this is the second album I've done like this. I did one with Ouachita Baptist University where they re-recorded the album and they were selling it to travel overseas, to perform overseas and meet other people like them in another country. So that's what a day is like. It's because I own my own business, I don't work for somebody. I don't like go punch in on the clock and then I do my work and I leave. My work is kind of all the time. So The recording process, this is why this is all relevant, is identical in nature. I have to decide, what do I want to record? How do I want it to sound? And then I have to make decisions. I have to select equipment and connect it in what I think is an order that's going to create the best sound. The microphone goes into the cable, goes into this device, into this device, into this device, and so on down the line until you're listening to it on your headphones in the bus, right? I have to check levels at every gain stage. That's a technical thing, but bottom line is on all those devices, I have to make sure and pay attention to that detail and make sure that it sounds correct. If it doesn't, I need to fix that. And then, I press record. So this is called signal flow in the audio recording and production world. And this concept is what really, really struck me about being in the audio recording school. They taught us this. This term refers to the order by which sound is processed and finally recorded or listened to. This is what a signal flow chart looks like. This is one of the first things you see when you get to that school. This is a mixing board. This is not an actual schematic. How are we doing on time?
We're at 23 minutes.
Cool. This is not an actual schematic, which would show electronic components. This is a block diagram. This is those ideas condensed. But this is, I saw this, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this reminds me of something. This reminds me of anything I've ever done. Because it starts with an idea, and the idea is this intangible thing. It's, like da 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 da, or whatever. It's this concept that has to be translated through humans into sound waves coming out of instruments, which then go into microphones and then get recorded and all this stuff. But here's your idea. Here's all your steps. Like here's some trash in my pocket, and here's the garbage can. And this is me walking to that garbage can, and this is me dropping it in the can, and this is me going on with my life. Dig? Any questions at this point about things we've discussed?
Is that Russian?
No. That's like a nonsensical